In this second part, I'm building the front side of the Bitaxe Gamma board, a version 601. It uses a single BM1370 ASIC from the Antminer S21 Pro, and the official Bitaxe Gamma documentation puts it at around 1.2 terahashes per second. Luckily there are no very small parts on this side, so I can get everything ready before I start. For the ESP32, I use a small pogo pin programming jig. It's basically a little PCB with spring pins that lets me connect the module to my PC and flash the Bitaxe firmware before I solder it onto the board. I use the stencil for the front side and apply the solder paste. But for the ESP32, I do not add paste or fill the stencil openings because I want to show you my new method for soldering it. The ESP32 is heavier than the other ICs, so it does not really pull itself into place with heat the way smaller parts do. I also noticed that when I used the stencil on the ESP32 pads, I often got shorts, even though the pads are quite far apart. Because the module does not move much during reflow, some of the paste seems to get trapped and create bridges. I place the ESP32 as accurately as I can, and then I focus on the first pin. I solder that pin first, and that gives me a pivot point. After that, I make small adjustments until the alignment looks right. Just try not to move it too much, because if you push it around too hard, you can damage the traces on the board. Once it is lined up, I use a little solder paste and hot air to secure one side. Then I switch to a soldering iron and solder wire, and I go pin by pin to finish the rest. If I use too much solder, I clean it up with wick. And sometimes even a clean soldering iron tip can pull away the excess solder, so I just keep going until all the pins look good. Now for the USB-C connector. Here I use as little solder paste as possible. I also leave the ground tabs for later. First, I make sure all the pins are in place and that there are no shorts. Now the button. Be careful to apply heat from the side and not directly onto the plastic, because the plastic can melt and ruin the button. Now for the ASIC. Normally I prepare the ASIC first by adding solder to all the pins and then cleaning it up with wick. But this time I'm trying the messier, slightly lazy method. I add some paste to the ASIC, warm it up with hot air, then add some paste to the PCB as well. After that, I gently work the ASIC into place while heating everything together. That helps get solder onto all the pins. Because this leaves a bit too much solder, I apply a little pressure while seating the chip so the extra solder can squeeze out from underneath and all the pins can make contact. And then I clean up the solder balls that come out from under the ASIC. While I slowly move the heat away and let it cool a little, I keep light pressure on it. Then I release it. After that, I solder the fan header and the screen, and then we're basically done. Now it's time to power it on, because I already flashed the ESP32 earlier. There is no extra flashing to do here. I just start it up and it begins hashing right away. But on this one, I underestimated the cooling. The heatsink I'm using is not enough, so the miner overheats and shuts down. I'll need to get a better heatsink for this build. And that's it for episode 2. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave a comment below.